Amakufi there yesterday when he held that presser at Jubilee House, and I'm going to be starting a piece of my mind from where he ended, the bit about Achimota Forest. This is a place I am familiar with very, 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 very well because I schooled in those prisons all of those years ago. My first encounter with that area was in the late 80s when I went to boarding school at Achimota. In those days, the road was not designed like the way you see it today. There was nothing like an N1. The road through the Forestry Commission office before you get to the Achimota police station was not designed this way. It was an old design. Babs will know that place where the DSTV offices, you just do a 10 over there. It was that design was something like that. And then CP was in the corner over there. There was no 5-lane road. There was no Noga Hill Hotel and all of those buildings that you see by the side of the road there. They were not there. So in those days, one of the things that we used to do, we would just go and walk around. I won't go into the forest because we're kids, we're afraid. We'll just go and walk around, or we will go through the side that today has Achimota Preparatory in the corner there, and then we'll go and catch golf balls, in our quiet days and in quiet moments. Even as a little child, one of the things that I readily recall, especially when it rained and we found our way very close to the forest, one of the things that I remember seeing was that it was a place that collected a lot of water. At that time, of course, as a little kid, I had no idea where the water was coming from. In my mind, the water would come from, the heavens, and the rains would come in, and the water will collect there, and over time, it will just seep into the soil. But growing up and studying geography at the University of Ghana and at the high school level, one of the things that I picked up along the lines was that the place like the Achimota Forest happens to be a hub that would collect a lot of water when it rains. So when we have a lot of places like that, what it does is that even when water collects there, because human settlement is close to zero, or because there is no one there, even when water collects in those areas, at some point it would gradually seep into the soil. And because of the nature of that space, it wouldn't then percolate through to other adjoining communities. So in those days, for those of you who remember, the places around where Fiesta Royale is today, and the places around that stretch, all of those buildings, they were not there. When you were driving around that side and you were heading towards the old Kwashi motorway, you would see that water was collecting pretty much at the edges like that, because it was like a safe haven for all of these rains that came from as far as wherever. Today we have decided to build very close, and we've decided to build all around the Achimota Forest. So if you happen to live very close, when it rains, when the water decides because of its intensity to get out of the forest, then unfortunately you would suffer. In those days there was nothing like Westlands. It didn't exist. The closest you saw was Christian Village, where most of the workers of Achimota School used to live or used to reside. All of those buildings you see in those communities called Hachu and stuff, they were not there. Gimpa was just a small property over there like that. And the Achimota School lands, literally took over a large chunk of the road. All those buildings you see by the roadside, the church, is a fire something, that is all of those, they were not there. It was a clean, nice area. How that property ended up in the will of an individual in this country, it's beyond me. But it happened. And in recent times, I've also been reading that one Owu family also claims to have documentation to that expanse of land. These cases will be sorted out in courts, but it makes it very difficult to understand. In other areas where they are trying to go green, in other areas where they are trying to take advantage of every little land that they have to keep a certain level of serenity, here what we do is that we build everywhere. So there is very little green space in the whole of Accra, very little green space. Anyone who has lived in Accra the last 40 years, the last 50 years, would have seen the dramatic change. There's nothing wrong with the change in itself, but the level of destruction that has gone with the change has become problematic. We used to have a lot of areas where the rains easily collected. If it wasn't just the area around the Achimota Forest, for those of you who are familiar with the new Achimota side, all the way to Tabora, Dodua, Tabora, Sotum, Antieku, Kwashima and Santa Maria, all of those places, it was just a few people who used to live there, because a large size of those areas were farmlands. If you look at the Achimota motorway, either side of the road, today look at the way people are built there. They used to be farmlands. Eben will tell you. I'm sure he's my age group, so he's always talking about it. There used to be farmlands where people used to farm the cabbage, the lettuce, those things. And there are a lot of communities like that. Today, they've been taken over by Trasaco and all of those communities over there. They didn't exist 30 years ago. They didn't. They were good farmlands where we got fresh farm produce. Today, we are buying food and keeping it in the fridge for 10 years. So me yesterday, when I heard the minister say this, I was very excited about it. We can literally destroy all our greens. We can't literally do that. And I remember the back and forth that I had on this platform with Awula Sewa, who was campaigning very strongly on this. Now we have heard this good news. I really hope and pray that nothing will change going forward. Achimota Forest, let it stay the way it is. There were conversations in the past to turn it into an echo, a D&D and whatever. Let it stay the way it is. The serenity is okay. The green is okay. Beautiful surroundings. Everything is fine. Let's not, use the land for whatever. Let's keep it like that. And I just hope we keep it like that. But at that same press conference, the minister also